I listen to this, you know. YW for life. Beat a nigga block with that motherfucking chopper.
Hip-hop underwent its metamorphosis into a world-renowned genre. A few regions have been synonymous as its leading lights. First, you had the genesis in the Bronx's Sedgwick Avenue and its serendipitous creation by DJ Kool Herc at a block party. From there, the steady propagation of the art of rhyming spread across New York's boroughs and allowed its sharpest minds to forge their own path to worldwide acclaim. Then, the West Coast caught wind of their neighbors to the east and implanted their own ideals onto the same template. Along the way, they gave us everything from imposing, moral panic-inducing gangsta rap to the exuberant and complex linguistic savvy forte that still permeate through to this day. Around the same time that NWA lumbered into the public eye, Southern pioneers such as the Geto Boys and 2 Live Crew dialed up the menace and lyricness in their respective states and paved the way for Texas, Georgia and Florida to be recognized as a diverse melting pot of ingenuity. In spite of these states' recognition as hotbeds of talent, one southerly region that's been relatively undistinguished as a breeding ground for hip-hop artists is the Carolinas, sandwiched between Star Trek's fiefdom of Virginia and their rowdy, undeterred peers in Atlanta. The Carolinas have quietly harbored a wealth of great artists, from Durham NC's historic trio of Fonte, Big Pooh and perpetually in-demand producer Ninth Wonder to Jeezy, So Def mastermind Jermaine Dupri and Mr. Freaka Leak himself Petty Pablo. There's been a steady stream of acts from the Palmetto and Tar Heel states that have sprung forth from their local scenes to leave their impactful stamp on the landscape. Historically unsung as it may be, the Carolinas hip-hop community has experienced a period of exponential growth in recent years, and its current crop of artists have all the talent to stop the area from being omitted from cultural conversations once and for all. Much like their Carolinian predecessors from across the years, the current crop of artists isn't localized around one signature sound but are identifiable as MCs that are straying out of commercial complacency in order to usher in a golden age for the area. In the vein of Death Row, Rap-A-Lot or Bad Boy Records, J. Cole's Dreamville has become inextricably linked with its spiritual home. Based at the Shelter, the label may be a conduit for Atlantans and New Yorkers such as JID, Earth Gang and Bars to communicate with the world, but it remains rooted in its founder's sense of community. Whilst Cole has already secured the title of the region's greatest export, he is but one aspect of the triumvirate of Dreamville artists that rap Carolina. Hailing from Charlotte and Raleigh, Lute and Mez may not have experienced the stratospheric ascent to fame that JID has, but it's not for a lack of ability or imagination. The driving force behind his own Slum County movement, Lute's acerbic rhymes and vivid depictions of a life beset by pitfalls finally got some overdue acclaim on 2017's West 1996 Part 2, and now fans patiently await his re-emergence with a new project. In an interview with HNHH, Lute touched on the predilection towards dismissiveness around NC as a harbour of creativity. Very much so. Very underrated. We have the talent, we have the music, but the thing about North Carolina is we have yet to have the platform to do so, and I think that that's what J. Cole, and even myself when I get to a level, want to do, is to bring the culture together and bring the people together to actually showcase what we have in North Carolina, because there's a lot of talent, fresh from directing Cole's Middle Child visuals. Mez, formerly King Mez, has always been an intuitive and enterprising artist. Plucked from relative obscurity to guest and ghostwrite on Dr. Dre's 2015 Compton LP, it seemed like he's been on the precipice of blowing up for years. Hot on the heels of his Data Plan mini EPs from last year, a recent Instagram post indicated that his years of toil may pay off in the near future. I remember a time when I wouldn't say what I'm about to do out of fear of fans or industry people doubting me like I can't do it, projecting their fears on me. Never again. The stars are aligning for ya boy. I just had to be patient. Away from J. Cole's establishes, a crop of diverse yet similarly captivating artists are making their way up the ranks, propelled to fame by her show-stealing appearance on Kendrick Lamar's Complexion. A Zulu Love, Snow Hill's Rhapsody proved that she was no one-verse wonder on 2016's Crown, and her revelatory sophomore LP Layla's Wisdom. After recently joining forces with J. Cole and Ninth Wonder for Sajama, she's proven that her remarks about the importance of cohesion between Carolinian artists to HNHH weren't just empty sentiment. One thing I wish we did more of at other cities, like what I like about Chicago, is how much the artists support each other. It seems like, we're all Chicago. North Carolina doesn't have that. Whether you're in Charlotte or Raleigh, I don't feel that. That's one thing I'd like to see get better. It used to be some of that, routinely saddled with the albatross of bridging hip-hop's generational divide. This burdensome responsibility is one that YBN Cordy seems to take in his stride. Born and bred in Raleigh before he moved to Suitland, Maryland, the 21-year-old MC is the YBN crew's lyrical firebrand and cemented himself as a hot prospect on his old NS, or thoughtful riposte to J. Cole's 1985, Kung Fu, Alaska, and his latest single Have Mercy, capable of insight or ignorance depending on the ambience of the track. His professed musical upbringing of Big L, Nas and Eminem formed a deep-seated admiration for communicating an idea through the art of rap, and it shines through in his eloquently structured bars. Now that he's being groomed for the position of Dr. Dre's latest protege, the MC formerly known as Andre Stock is beginning to supersede that of his fellow YBN cohorts and points to longevity on the horizon. Whilst Charlotte's cult rap shaman De Niro Farah reaffirmed his position on his re-up EP and burgeoning artists such as J.K. the Reaper, Black Zack and Marley Pitch are on the fast track to notoriety, no Carolinian has had a 2019 quite as rewarding thus far as DaBaby, a refreshing gust of undampened air into the mainstream sphere. The Charlotte, Annecy native comes equipped with a much-needed sense of joy in an era when many rappers refuse to compromise their larger-than-life mystiques. Back in January, years of toil and cultivating a buzz on the independent South Coast music group led to the comedically tinged rapper inking a lucrative deal with Interscope. Rather than a catalyst for him to sterilize his sound, DaBaby has used the distribution as a launching pad for his debut studio album Baby on Baby. Informed by a desire to be creative and push the envelope, DaBaby is more than willing to accredit his city's inherent dangers with spawning the resilient man that he is today. It ain't no place like Charlotte. It's either going to make you, fold you, or it's going to mold you to be a certain type of person. Once again, Dreamville is acting as a creative point of convergence for the region's exports after DaBaby relayed that he's been in the studio with its architect J. Cole. With the groundswell of artists shattering the geographical glass ceiling, the time is ripe for the Carolinas to take their rightful place in hip-hop's storied history. Between Dreamville, Rhapsody, Cordy and DaBaby, the area has a series of testimonies playing out before our eyes, and it can only yield more breakout stars in the future. If that elusive sense of unity that Rhapsody seeks is implemented, we could have another dynasty on our hands that rivals their East and West Coast counterparts.